protesters. That's the big breaking news that we are getting for you at a time when Times Now has revealed diary entry of the munitions, of the pellet, as well as stun guns which were used against the protesters at Jantar Mantar. Now you have the Chief Justice of India who's waded into this entire row. In fact, the Chief Justice of India has referred to the allegations which have been placed before the court, including the reported use of pellet guns, electric batons, as well as lathis fitted with nails. The CJI also noted a claim that a 19-year-old protester allegedly lost eyesight due to pellet gun use. What exactly has the Chief Justice of India has said? Well, he says that we have come across instances of pellet guns used. 19-year-old has suffered the loss of eyesight. The Chief Justice of India categorically says that instances of the use of electric batons have been reported. The use of lathis with nails have been alleged in a plea as well, and has listed the allegations of police brutality in pleas. In fact, let me go across to Bhavtosh, who's joining us live, as well as Dipankar and Dev Kotak. Bhavtosh, I'm going to be coming across to you first. Can you tell us what the Chief Justice of India himself has said? Because there have been daily hearings about many have been calling police excesses. What are the observations?
Well, our legal editor Harish is inside the courtroom, and what he has told us is that Chief Justice of India has said there are some allegations in all petitions, but if you broadly see them, one is use of pellet guns, on account of which a 19-year-old boy has suffered loss of eyesight. There are instances of use of electrical batons. A young woman is admitted in ICU. Use of batons with nails resulting in life-threatening injuries. Another is an assault on another individual. Also, this has been mentioned, who has been mercilessly assaulted. Violence that have been perpetrated by police personnel who were in mufti or civil dress. And a young woman has also been slapped by a policeman. That is in case of additional DCP Sandeep Lamba. That has also been mentioned by the Chief Justice of India. Now, these stories, Meghna, have been highlighted by Times Now for past 4 to 5 days. There are also separate petitions that have been filed. Now, these separate petitions have been filed by police personnel who have said that they have also received injuries, including ACP Kailash Bish, who has said that he has received injuries on his head, on his hand. He was the one who was mercilessly beaten up last Wednesday when he was on night patrolling. Now, Chief Justice of India is going through various allegations and claims that have been leveled by several individuals. What is most important is the fact, the most controversial bit as far as this case is concerned, is the use of pellet guns, and Times Now has accessed a document that is the general diary entry, in which it's now been alleged that it was the DCP who had allowed, or at least had given directions of the use of pellet guns. The Chief Justice of India has also mentioned about the injuries, or at least the assault on media person, including our own colleague Dev Kotak, who was also mercilessly beaten up by CJP protesters. He also received injuries during the course of covering this entire agitation. It appears that the Chief Justice of India might order an independent probe. Whether this would be carried out, probe would be carried out by a judicial probe, or whether it would be an SIT, or whether it would be carried out by CBI.
Well, in fact, let me go across to Dipankar as well. Of course, Harish Nair is getting us all the details of what's happening. But I believe the CJI has also said the only thing legal about legal principles, you will appreciate there are judgments by the court, a time has come when all these principles need to be collated and expanded. Judicial protocol means to what extent 2018 guidelines are relevant in 2026. Probably we need to have a mechanism to ensure protocol comes into effect immediately when some circumstances are there. Can you explain what that means to us, Dipankar?
Well, yes, the Supreme Court had in 2012, during the Ram Leela Maidan case, had created certain guidelines that are to be in place, where it was also said that tear gas shelling, one of the guidelines was that tear gas shelling should be the last resort that has to be done in order to control a protest, or in order to control a mob. So talking about those judgments, those guidelines, the CJI might be referring to expanding those guidelines in a way that it can be implemented at any place at any time, and it should be implemented. And that protocol which the Supreme Court might now lay down, the guidelines which the Supreme Court now lay down, will have to come into play whenever such kind of situation emerges. So the CJI is referring to a thorough probe that has to be done in this entire case, and then certain guidelines to be placed on record, certain guidelines to be made in this entire case, which the RAF, the riot control agencies, the Delhi police...
Sorry.